Hello and welcome to Performance E-Streaming for round 4 of IRFF's AUSCAR series here at Texas Motor Speedway. I'm Brett Douglas, and with me in the commentary booth as usual is Chris Purnell. How are you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm good, Bretto, and yourself. And welcome to everybody watching the broadcast tonight. I'm a little bit excited to get stuck into this race at Texas. I think we're in for a cracker of a night.
Well, we've passed the halfway mark now of the 6-round series. This is round 4. We've had 3 different winners so far, which has made it quite interesting. Kind of like the sort of thing that you want to see, isn't it, with different winners and different people up there every week.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, we've had, like you said, 3 different winners. And, there's a lot to still play out in this. And I think if we can get a repeat winner, I think they're definitely the ones to fight for the championship. But it's still anybody's at this point in time, that's for sure.
Couldn't agree more. And look, at the end of the day, the championship standings are pretty damn close, actually, after 3 rounds. So as we stand at the top of the table, we've got Matthew Clute sitting on 432, and only 4 points behind him is Dwayne Priest on 428. Followed closely again, 6 points back by Edward Foster. What have we got then? We've got Nicholas Walsh in 4th, a further 8 points back again, and then Raymond Yeager rounds out the 5 at 408. So, yeah, you're right. If anyone starts going on a bit of a win streak, they're certainly going to push themselves right at the top, aren't they?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's going to be about consistency and just getting the best finishes you can over these next 3 weeks, and hopefully come away with the silverware at the end of it.
Well, that's it. And I mean, last week we were at Atlanta, where Damon Stockton took his first win. Michael Skurlock was second, with Matthew Clute third. So the common thread so far has been Matthew Clute. He's been there or thereabouts, and he's leading the table as a result. But everyone else seems to be up there with him as well in the top 5 or 10, don't they?
Yeah, that's it. And I think the way that we're looking at it now is, as soon as one of these guys has a bad round, they'll fall backwards in the championship quite fast. So it's going to be all about just managing what you can and not going for anything too silly and aggressive and ruining your chances to take it out overall.
Well, what do we got next week? We've got Kansas and then Las Vegas to round out the finale. I mean, look, Atlanta, I know you've driven it a few times. What are your thoughts on the track? What have you noticed so far in practice?
Oh, well, we're at Texas this week. Atlanta was last week. But
and you're right. I stand corrected.
It's all right, buddy. It's happy Bathurst Day to everyone out there. It's been a long day for most of us, so it's going to be a bit of a funny night, I think, for a lot of us in here.
I'm just a week behind. Don't worry.
Yeah, you're all good, man. So Texas is it's one of them actually won the last AUSCAR race that we had here, and it's a bit of a weird sort of mile and a half the way you got to drive it. It's very multiple line dependent. You can run high, you can run low. It's all about finding the gap where the car isn't in front, affecting the aero on the front of your car, so you can get your car to turn through the corner and get the power out. The guys in practice seem to be struggling with quite loose cars as the race goes on. So I think they're in for a bit of a rough night in the main final. I think there'll be a fair few cautions, but I said that last week, and then look at what happened. We had a 65 lap run of green flag. So I wouldn't take everything I say too well, because half the time I call it wrong anyway.
Well, I don't know that it's wrong. That's the difficult part about all this, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, you call it as you see it, and it all happens so quick in these races that you've got your 2 heats, a B main and an A main. You don't really have a lot of time to go back and review and stuff like that. But look, Texas, it's a little bit of a wider open track than Atlanta, if I remember rightly. Yep. So we should be able to see a bit of drafting and a fair bit of fast running.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The guys will get a lot of a lot of air draft out of turn 2. And the way that the 3 and 4 kind of works is you can kind of enter high and run sort of down the track a little bit into that 2nd or 3rd groove, and then back out to the wall on the exit. So the momentum will stay quite high through 3 and 4, and then they should get a really good run down into the tri-oval. And then 1 and 2, they seem to be entering quite probably the 3rd or 4th groove up, and then they dip nearly to the white line. They're probably half a groove off the white line, and then back up to the outside on the exit. So I think it's at the moment it's looking like a 1 groove line, but as the race goes on, I think you'll get guys running high and low, and it'll create a bit of controversy in where you can go with your car.
Well, they've had 3 rounds to get used to this magnificent drafting effect that these cars are producing on the ovals. Yeah, with any luck, we'll see some people taking advantage of that and just learning from the last few rounds and making something of it.
Yeah, that's it. It's definitely something it's caught a couple of guys out in the first rounds, but I think they're now starting to get a handle of it from what I can see in practice, and they're able to create these lines and create the momentum that they need to make these passes happen. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to tonight. It's a good track, and I think it's going to provide some really good racing for us.
Well, the first 3 rounds have been pretty spectacular. No cautions in the heat races, and the B main's probably thrown a few people out because it's cost them time when they've had an incident. Of course, you know, the main race we have cautions, which is you know, what they're kind of used to, a lot of these guys on the oval circuit. But yeah, I think they're learning how to play the game now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the other thing about that is it's also been able to go in a way that I've completely lost my train of thought here with the session ending. They're able to manipulate a lot more than they were to begin with, and the guys seem to be working to get together better in packs of cars as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens, but also with the way that the qualifying goes, and if you start from the back in the final, we've seen guys every week for the last 3 rounds start at the back and still make their way to the front. So it's not really a form guide of who's going to finish where, because we know that quali kind of just, it's a more of a luck of the draw thing. If you can avoid the cautions and issues, you'll be in a good position for the race, but that doesn't mean you're going to do well in the race, because we've seen it go back to front several times.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know, I mean, a few guys have had fairly up and down times. I'm just watching Will Barrington right now, just coming on to start his first flyer, I think. Will's been doing okay. So we'll see how Will goes and see if he can pull out a decent lap, and we'll keep trying to scan around and find out who else is on track. So just watching Will Barrington now, and he's just put himself into 4th on the board with a, what's he done here, a 31.7. So it's already down into 9th though as I'm watching. Sorry, 7th. Looks like they're all starting to come out at once now. So just watching Norman Clark run his laps, and I think he's actually on his 2nd lap at the moment right now. Yes, he must be, because he's at the top of the table on a 30.8. So he's going quite well out here, keeping the car quite steady and straight.
Just watching Edward Foster do his warm-up lap now as he comes out of turn 4 to start his first hot lap.
Yeah, well, so far Norman Clark's a pace setter on 30.83. See what Edward can pull out.
Seems to be able to get that car right down on that white line through 1 and 2, which is definitely going to help his momentum.
Well, he'd be looking for a good result, sitting 3rd on the table at the moment. The other one I wanted to have a look at was Dwayne Priest, who's 2nd at the moment as well. At the moment, he's second on the ball with 30.9.
P7 for P8 for Edward on his first one. Jackson Callow's just gone to the top with a 30.795.
Yep, just beat me to it. So we've got Dwayne Priest sitting in 4th. Norman Clark in 2nd. Trent Gosley in 3rd on a 30.9. So it's all very, very tight. There's only a few tenths in it. Trent's another one who's been quick and just had a bit of bad luck, hasn't he?
Edward's just gone to P3 with a 30.88.
Now I'm just watching last week's winner, Damon Stockton, come around to complete his what looks to be his first lap. Get the car nice and low out of 4. Yeah, they've definitely got a low approach into 1 and try to run that middle groove, aren't they?
Yeah, they seem to want to be as low as they can for that speed. So it's interesting to see. I've just noticed that our championship leader at the moment, Matt Klutz, done his 2 laps and he's only in P. Sorry, my iRacing's playing.
Yeah, he's down in P12 by the looks of it, so that's going to make it hard for him, isn't it?
Yeah, well, his first lap was in the 32s, and he was the only guy to be in the 32s on their first out lap. So I'm not sure what happened there, if he had an issue or but definitely hindered his run for sure.
Yeah. So where does that leave us for Heat 1?
All right, so the grid for Heat 1, we have Jackson Callow on the pole with Edward Foster on the outside front row. Trent Gosling in 3rd, Kai Sloggett in 4th, Raymond Yeager in 5th, Brendan Hamilton in 6th, George Fullerton in 7th, Reese May in 8th, Nick Walsh in 9th, Will Barrington 10th, Stacey Walker in 11th, and Nick Shields in 12th.
Alrighty, well, not a bad turnout for Bathurst Day. It's 23 car grid, so it'll certainly keep them all entertained, won't it?
Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised at the amount of people that have showed up for this, but with there being the championship so close and it's still anybody's fight, I think these guys are the serious guys that want to see if they can out.
Well, all the front runners are there, so let's see what they can do. So pace cars just leading them away on the formation lap. And come around next time, they'll get started. Based on practice and qualifying, it's kind of anyone's race here with Foster and Callow at the front, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think for both of them guys, they'll be just happy and hoping for a clean run in these heat races, because the last couple of weeks they've both been involved in different incidents, and it's definitely cost them time and getting them to the front in the final. So hopefully these boys can have a clean race, start in the front couple of rows for the main, and go well from there.
Well, they've also got Trent Gosley there in 3rd, so I mean, yeah, he's been very quick. So yeah, it should be an interesting start, that's for sure.
That's exactly right. With only 10 laps, I think it's going to be go from the moment we drop this green flag, and these guys are going to go at it hard. So I think these boys have all been watching Bathurst today, and they've probably got a little bit too much adrenaline pumped up from watching the race, and it's their turn to put on a show for us.
Well, let's hope that's exactly what they do. So as they come around now, the pace car's pulling off, and we'll be away for Heat 1 any second now. So Callow to lead them away. And the green flag's out. Callow holds him up, but he's got a bit of a run. Foster's going with him. So Callow will lead into turn 1 from Foster and Gosley.
Trent's actually got a bit of a run on the inside of Edward at the moment, but Callow's moved to the outside.
Looks like a little bit of bump rafting there from Foster up on Callow.
Look at Yeager, he's really high on the... Got a mega run out of the corner. He's given Edward a good push down the straight now. Yeah, Yeager seems to be 1.5 feet higher in that corner than anybody else does at this point in time. Oh, I think that's Gavin Sadler that's just been involved in that one. No, George Fullerton, sorry.
Oh, yeah, George has been pretty quick too in recent times, so it's a bit of a shame for him. He had a bit of bad luck last week as well. Yeah,
that is a shame, but at least it's only a heat race, and with there only being 23, everybody will take the final, so it's just going to put him on the back foot for the main race.
Yeah, well, as we work lap 3 now, we've got Callow out front from Gosley, and they've broken away a little bit from the rest of the guys, so let's see if they can maintain that. 10 laps isn't a long run, is it?
No, that's exactly right. I'm just watching Edward and Kai Sloggett battle it out for third and fourth here. Kai had a really good run through turn 1 and 2 and used the low line, and then Edward did the over-under on the back straight and then tried it in 3 and 4. He seems to be able to come back at him now.
Well, at the moment, Callo's doing a pretty good job out there out front, although just as I say that, Gosling closed right up on the back of him, but it looks like Callo's definitely got the legs on him into the turns, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Did Gosley just touch a wall then coming out of
Yeah, I think Trent's just slid up the track a little bit there and then hit the wall out of 4 there. And he looks like he's got a little bit of damage.
Oh, contact between Foster and Sloggett.
It's going to open the door for Brendan Hamilton here to have a good run down the inside of him.
Sloggett's managed to hang on to it, but he's dropped a few positions, hasn't he?
He sure has, and I'm actually just watching Raymond Jaeger come back at him on the outside as well.
Right now, Callo's just running away with this one. What is he now? He's got about a 1.5, 2 second gap back to Gosley, so I don't think anyone's going to touch him. We're working lap 6, about to come on to lap 7.
Sorry to interrupt, Kai Sloggett's just hit the wall into 1 and just drifted up the track.
Not the start he was looking for, is it? He seemed pretty racy there at the beginning.
Yeah, he had quite a bit of pace there, but it just, he just got a bit unlucky. I think the air caught him out on where the car was going, and he fired up into the fence out of 1.
Well, let's come on to lap 7 now. It's Callo, then Dave. Looks like Edward Foster, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, Foster's in second now. He's 2 seconds behind Callo now, so Callo's got this one in the bag. By the looks of it, with only 3 laps left to run.
Well, Hamilton's making a run on Foster now for second. It looks like he's pulled off the move. Foster will slip in behind him. Oh, look at the draft effect there. Just, took the air off the back of Hamilton. Hung him out to dry, hasn't it?
Yeah,
he just got really loose coming off 4.
Plummeted down the order, 5 or 6 spots.
Wow, graphic illustration of how you can take the air off the car in front of you or beside you, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he took the air or if he gave him a slight bump coming out of 4. I'm not quite sure by that one. I couldn't get a good camera angle on it, but yeah, whatever he did, it definitely upset Brendan's car.
Oh, big time. So Foster's got Walker stalking him at the moment, but as we're working lap 8, about to work lap 9 now. Yeah, I can't see anyone touching Callo.
No, well, Callo's pulled out another half second that lap, so he's now 2.5 seconds ahead of the field. So these boys are racing a little bit too hard to pull back up to Callo now. He's definitely pulled away enough of it, able to manage this one to the end of the race, at the end of the heat race.
He would have been rubbing his hands together watching this bloke go behind him. So the question now is, can Foster hold off Walker?
I think he can. Edward's got quite a lot of experience with these oval style tracks, and he knows how to work the draft. We've seen him do well in play. It's a little bit loose coming out of 2, and Walker's got to run on the outside.
Well, as we say that, Callo comes across the line now to take the win in the first heat.
Oh, it's going to be a photo finish. Oh, there was 0.01 between those two over that line then. That was incredible finish there.
Right, well, so let's recap quickly the way they finished in Heat 1. We had Jackson Callo a long way out in front from Edward Foster, Stacey Walker, Raymond Jaeger, Brendan Hamilton, who was a bit unlucky there, Will Barrington, Trent Gosley, Cole Sloggett. Lap down was George Fuller with Nick Walsh and Reese May both 6 and 8 laps down respectively. It doesn't look like Nicholas Shields started.
No, it looks like he's had connection issues tonight, so he hasn't even taken the grid for that one, so that's a bit of a shame. But for Heat 2, the grid we have Norman Clark on the pole, with Terry Marwood in second, Dwayne Priest in third, Damon Stockton in fourth, Gavin Sadler in fifth, sixth, Phil Otto seventh, Michael Skurlock in 8th. Aaron Dillon 9th, Tristan Yellen 10th, and Aaron Wilton in 11th.
Yeah, I didn't expect to see Michael Skurlock or Aaron Wilton struggling so hard, but looks like it's a little bit tougher out there than what it seemed to be on the screen, yeah?
Yeah, I think these boys play a little bit of a different strategy to some of these guys. I know it's a heat race. They're probably just trying to find that balance for the main for them. We saw Michael not even put a qualifying lap in last week, and he ran top 5 for most of the night and actually had a good fight with Damon in those last closing laps for the win. So I think they're playing a more long game strategy than anything else. So it'll be interesting to see how everyone goes, that's for sure. But definitely a bit of a star-studded lineup here with a lot of AUSCAR participants in this field.
Yeah, it's a good-looking field, isn't it? Should be quite entertaining, I hope.
Yeah, that's it. As the pace car comes out of turn 4 now, we'll just wait for this green flag to fly. And Norman Clark's left early, and he's got a good jump on the field here.
Yeah, he's got a huge gap already, hasn't he? No one seemed to follow.
No, he's definitely caught a few guys napping there for sure. He's pulled out a massive lead, but this draft's pulled them all right back in very quickly. So
Marwood and Priest are working together already just to go straight past him. Look at that. So right now, Priest is second on the table, so he'll be looking for a good result.
yeah, that's exactly right. He'll be working hard to get himself in a good position for the final tonight to hopefully get some more points and to keep his championship alive. That's for sure.
Well, Stockton's there coming up. Just up on the high line there, in behind Priest, obviously last week's winner. He'll be looking for a way past here pretty quick, I'd imagine, because what happened with Callow in the last race. So I can't imagine anyone's going to let someone get away.
No, that's exactly right. But the more these guys run too wide here, the leader's just going to pull away.
Yeah, they're certainly playing hard, aren't they? Someone's just gone off in the background there. I can't quite see who it is. Makes it hard without these cautions, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It happens so quick, but we're nearly 4 wide into turn 3 here. This is definitely getting a little bit rough and heating up here.
All right, so as we work the end of lap 3, coming into lap 4, Priest and Stockton are battling pretty hard there. Unfortunately, fortunately for Marwood, it's letting him just get away while this lot squabble over 2nd and 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th.
And these boys need to get in a bit of a formation to have a crack back up. They seem to be good enough on that top line now, so hopefully that sort of works for them.
Just saw Wilton there come off at the back, which is a bit unfortunate. So Priest seems to have made a break. He'll be hoping those two behind him, Stockton and Klute, start fighting a bit harder, I guess, give him a break, but doesn't look like it's to be. Looks like Klute's just dropped down to the bottom line and he's just going to chase away with Priest.
Yeah, they seem to be gritting up now. They're all in a row here, so they know they're going to be able to work back up to the leader here and then hopefully have a run on him. So they seem to be working a little bit more organised than they were in them first few laps. But with only 5 laps to go now, they're going to need to sort themselves out pretty quickly if they want to crack at this.
Yeah, they are. Klute and Stockton are going pretty hard there. There's been a couple of very close calls there, and looks like they're trying to find. They just seem to be searching all the different grooves here, don't they? No one's really sort of sticking to a particular groove. They're all. Oh, there's contact between Klute and Stockton. Oh, they've managed to hang on to it. That was very well kept. That could have got very, very ugly, especially for Stockton there, because he actually got up on 2 wheels there momentarily.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if that was wheel-to-wheel contact or just panel damage contact, because if that was wheel-to-wheel, something could have a bent steering arm or anything in that car for sure, and it's definitely going to make it a lot harder to get the speed out of it in these closing laps.
Well, he doesn't seem to have dropped off any. Neither of them do.
Gavin Saddle has just had a big slide out of 2. He's just dropped a couple of positions there. He's back behind Norman Clark now in 8th.
So as we look a little bit further back, it looks like Michael Skurlock's challenging Stockton now for 4th.
Yeah, he just grabbed the apron out of 4 himself and got real squirrely coming out of the corner and lost quite a bit of momentum. But Damon's doesn't seem to have the pace anymore because he's not able to pull back ahead like he was before. So I think that contact with Clowett has definitely done some damage for him.
Well, that's part of the problem here too. You actually just touched on something we hadn't mentioned before. Was it's quite easy to hook the left front on that apron transition, isn't it? And if you get it at the wrong point, you're either flying up into the wall or you're just going around.
Yeah, that's exactly right. These cars seem to handle a little bit differently to the stock cars do. When you drive a stock car, you want to use that apron to get the thing to turn a little bit, especially as the tyres go off on a long run. But
So that'll just add drummers out of 3 then.
yeah, but definitely in these, it looks like as soon as you get close to that apron, you're in a fair bit of trouble for sure.
Well, we're coming on to the last lap now. I don't think anyone's going to be coming too close to Terry Marwood right now. Priest is a bit lonely out there in second as well.
Yeah, the fight's definitely on between Clute or Skurlock. They've seemed to pull enough of a gap that they can hold off for that last lap. So probably the battle's between Stockton and Aaron Dillon, but even those two are... No, Stockton's had a moment as well, and he's dropped behind Aaron Dillon, so...
Well, Marwood's just taken the win in Heat 2s. Priest has crossed the line in second, and Clute's crossed over in third.
Skurlock in 4th, Norman Clark 5th, Aaron Dillon in 6th, Damon Stockton in 7th, Gav Sadler in 8th, Tristan Yellen in 9th, Phil Otto in 10th, and Aaron Wilton was 2 laps down in 11th.
Alrighty, so now we move on to the B main, which pretty much everyone's in, I guess. So we'll quickly cover the as we go. What do we got here? We've got Jackson Callow on pole. Beside him is Terry Marwood, Edward Foster, and Dwayne Priest on the second row. Stacey Walker and Matthew Clute on the next row. Raymond Yeager and Michael Skurlock. Brendan Hamilton, Norman Clark. Will Barrington, Aaron Dillon, not Austin Dillon. Trent Gosley and Damon Stockton. Kyle Sloggett, Gavin Sadler, George Fullerton and Tristan Yelland. Nick Walsh and Phil Otto, Reese May and Aaron Wilton, and I don't think, Nick, we already covered Nicholas. He's disconnected, unfortunately. So everyone's moved over into this one. It's should be an interesting race with a big field now. Let's hope that someone makes a bit of a fist of it at the front. It's both the heat races have been runaways. Yeah,
that's exactly right, and this is just going to set the grid for the A main final, which will be the 75 lap with the cautions on and pit stops, and that'll be where the bread and butter's won and the points are earned. So this is just pretty much setting your grid position for the main race. So I'm not quite sure how this is going to go, if guys are going to go hard at it or they're going to wait for the attrition to fall off, because from what I can see, by lap 10 these guys will loose, and with the 25 lap qualifying race, I think we're going to see quite a few things come unstuck here.
Well, it certainly sets it up for a fascinating final too, doesn't it?
Oh, it definitely does, and I think that we're going to see quite a few cautions by what I can see so far, and I think they will be taking tyres every time, because it just looks like these things are burning up real quick tonight.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing that there's a few of them that, I don't know, they've been fairly lonely out there in front. If they get caught up in traffic, it could actually affect them, because they're not really sure how the car's going to run in traffic, are they?
No, that's exactly right, and that's the beauty about these heat races and this qualifying race. It gives you time to fall back through the pack and see what your car's capable of doing in the final, so you know what to deal with.
All right, so we're about to go green. We just go green now. Pace car's pulled away, and Callow leads them away. And there's already an incident there, mid-pack. Can't quite see who that is.
That looks like Damon Stockton, man. It's just been fired off to the inside.
Oh, well, bit of bad luck for last round winner. Luckily, he's still got the final to go, but it doesn't give him a good grid spot for the final.
No, he's definitely going to have to work his way back through this one, or wait for some of this traffic to fall off and move his way back up. So it didn't look like he got too much damage. It just looked like he was sort of helped to the inside, or he got a bit squirrely on the start and grabbed the grass and sent himself in. So not quite sure what happened there, but it looks like he's been pushed.
Well, it's pretty racy at the front here between Jackson Callow, Terry Marwood and Edward Foster so far. Priest and Walker are just hanging in there behind him, as is Clute. But it appears as though Callow and Marwood want to really slug this one out, which will give the other guys a bit of a chance to catch up. It looks like they caught a few of them sleeping off the start, didn't it?
Yeah, they did, and I've just watched Kai Sloggett just drop from the back. And Damon Stockton's actually been removed from the server, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there.
Right, okay. That'll be an interesting story.
Yeah, we'll have to find out a little bit more about that to find out what's happened. But yeah, Gavin Saddler's dropped down a lap, and so has Aaron Wilton and Aaron Dillon.
Trent Gosley.
Yeah, so there's a few of them that have fallen to the back already. So somebody's done something.
All right, so back at the front though, as we work lap 4, about to come on to lap 5. Green car down the bottom there. Is that Aaron Dillon?
I think it might be, yes.
All right, well, meantime, we've got Jackson Callow making a huge run down the inside as we go through the tri-oval on, or into turn 1 of Terry Marwood. So he's definitely not giving up on this lead, is he?
No, that's exactly right. And these guys are fighting quite hard at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how bad this person wants the pole and how hard they're willing to push their car for it.
Well, that's it. And I mean, too, they've got to remember, you know, the worse they finish here, the worse they start in the final. So, yeah, so far, just having a bit of a look here, a few of them seem to be quite willing to risk all of that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's the honours of getting the pole for the final race. We've seen Matt Clute start for the pole in the last 2 rounds. He's definitely had the luck in the qualifying race to get himself there, but then he sort of drops off in the middle of the race and then he comes back. So maybe that is the ideal thing, is to be in that middle, wait for that caution, fall back a bit, and then work your way back forward as the carnage unfolds.
That's it. So they've just come across some lap traffic already, and Aaron Wilton, too many Aarons in here, kindly went up to the top line and let the ball through, so it doesn't appear to have interfered with anything. Meanwhile, Callow and Marwood just continue to slug it out here, and right behind them is Foster and Walker, who are still going at it 7 laps later. Yeah,
they've been side by side for forever now, for what it feels like, and I'm sure they'd be wanting to get in line and start working back up to these leaders, because otherwise these guys are just going to pull further and further ahead.
Well, they are, and we've seen it in the heat races too. I mean, you know, as soon as the front guys get a bit of a little bit of a battle behind them, they just take off.
Yeah, that's it. I'm really impressed in the way that Callow's driving this car at the moment. He's been on fine form the last few weeks. He's definitely going through a bit of a purple patch, and he's just hanging there with Marwood at the moment. He's not letting him escape too far away. He's being smart. He's just running with him, and I'm sure that he'll wait till a little bit later in this race to make a move back on him.
Oh, absolutely right. He's been absolutely on fire lately, and he's won several AUSCAR races, and he's always up there challenging in anything he sits his bum in at the moment, hasn't he? So, you know, I guess if I was him, I don't know what your opinion is, but I'd probably just sit there and draft for probably the first 20 laps, 22 laps, and then just sort of challenging him at the end. Just keep that pressure on.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He's definitely starting to perfect his craft a lot more. In the start of the season, I had a couple of really good battles with him, and his car was definitely he was good on the short run, and he seems to be working on that long run now and preserving his stuff for later on. Michael Sturlock's crashed into the wall.
Bit of bad luck for Michael, but I'm sure he'll come back in the main. He did last week, so yeah, not all's lost. Just not ideal.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's just pretty much a grid position at the end of the day. The boys will be able to fix that car up and get it ready for the next one, and I'm sure he'll push forward as the race goes on.
Well, Walker's all over Foster, and they just keep swapping this 3rd and 4th place here. Behind them, you've got Clute and Hamilton doing much the same thing, just sort of put a bit of a break on him. But as I say that, Hamilton comes straight back at him.
Yeah, and it looks like Dwayne Priest has actually got past Hamilton as well. So it's and they're sort of fighting on now as well. So Hamilton looks like he's dropped back about 4 or 5 car lengths from Priest and Clute now. But they're, as we watch Callow fighting for the lead with Marwood and Stacey Walker are side by side again. So I'd say these boys would be getting a little bit frustrated as these leaders are starting to pull away a little bit, that they need to get in a line and work together for a little while.
Well, like you said before, it's like they're just driving side by side around the track, lap after lap. I mean, we're working lap 12 now of 25, and yeah, they've basically just been holding the same position. It's quite unusual.
Yeah, it is, but it's definitely bringing the 3 cars into this now, so it's going to hurt them definitely if they don't start thinking a bit smarter. But as Clute sucks up to the back of Edward Foster here, I think these two will sort of bump draft each other and try and pull ahead of Walker and catch up to these leaders before they get too far down the road.
Well, everyone else has been running the middle to high, but Walker just seems to be able to stick to that low line and make it work for him.
He seems to be able to get the car to turn in and hug that line at the bottom a little bit more. He's just grabbed the apron on the exit, got a bit loose. But yeah, it's interesting to see these guys running different lines and running like identical lap time, lap after lap. So, and side by side. So
move back up the front now, and Callow's dropped off Marwood a fair distance. I didn't notice any incident happen there, but I'm guessing there's been something happen. He might have had a slight lose or something there, because last lap he was right up with him.
Yeah, it looked like he got really loose coming out of 2. I think he actually he went a little bit off track, and he grabbed the loose and slid up the track and lost a heap of momentum. But Edwards finally cleared Stacey and pulled 3 or 4 car lengths on him, and now Clute's having a crack at him on the inside of Stacey, which will be interesting to see. But Clute's just got loose out of 2 himself and dropped behind Stacey Walker here. So,
well, a few of these guys need to start working together to bridge the gap to Marwood, or we're working lap 15 now. They've only got 10 left or 9 left to catch up and challenge for this.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But all the guys seem to have got in a line now, so hopefully they stay in a line for 4 or 5 laps, because they've definitely pulled back up to Callow pretty quickly here. So it'd be interesting to see what they can do over the next 3 or 4 laps and see how quickly they can suck up to the back bumper of these boys and push them all up to Marwood and have a crack for the lead.
It's hard to know where to look half the time, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. These boys are really turning. There's a heap of different little battle packs all around the track at the moment, and I'm kind of lost at where to look, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm trying to keep an eye on what's going on up front, of course. So yeah, if you can keep doing that, it looks like someone's just clipped the wall there.
That's Stacey Walker. Stacey Walker's just run into the back of Clute there, and he's just fired up the track and then off the track. So that's a shame for Stacey. He was having a really solid night there and running consistent, but his night's not over yet. He can still run from the back to the front during the final.
Well, he was certainly quick, so let's hope that he's got something left for the final.
Yeah, just like to also say that Kai Soggett's retired for the night as well. He's put the car behind the wall, and he's obviously not happy with how his night's going, and he's called it a night.
That's a shame. All right, so we've got Foster closing up on Callow here, running out of laps, unfortunately, but what have we got, 7 left? Let's see what he's got for him. I think who's that Clute that's back in 4th. He's still a fair way back for Foster as well. So they've really spread out tonight, haven't they? There hasn't been a lot of the really classic that we've seen in the past.
No, that's exactly right. It seems to be after sort of 5 or 6 laps, these guys sort of stretch their legs and they form these little bubble gaps between them of sort of 5 or 6 car lengths, and it's very line of stern from then on. And yeah, I don't know. I think the main final is going to be interesting. I think if the boys get a good restart and they can keep it clean for 3 or 4 laps, I think that it'll go long green laps. I think if they sort of get really aggressive at the start of these races, I can see the cautions flying a lot tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how they go.
Well, it's clearly a track that suits some and not others. It's, yeah. We haven't seen this kind of spread out racing in the first 3 rounds.
No, that's exactly right. It seems to be very based on how you run a NASCAR. It's very running a line and finding that speed, momentum, and gaining on that car in front. The draft doesn't seem to be as big of an effect as it has been in the previous rounds. Yes, there's still a draft effect, but not to the same extent that we had it, say, the first couple of rounds.
Well, we've got Hamilton trying to make a play at Priest at the moment, so that's for 5th and 6th. But apart from that, it's fairly well stations as they were at the front.
Yeah. Aaron Wilson's also retired for the night, which is a shame. It was his debut tonight in this series, and he's obviously not happy with how he's driving, or he's had an issue with the car and he can't go on any longer. So that's a shame to see him out. So.
All right, so looks like Hamilton's making a run up the inside here of Priest, trying to get that position as we work lap 22. 3 laps to go for our race leader. Callo's not making too many inroads at the moment, though, is he? And Foster's not making too many inroads into him either.
No, he's Callo's managed to sort of hold the gap at 1.2, but Foster's actually dropping back into the clutches of Clute here. So it'll be interesting to see if Clute has a go at Foster in the last lap or two. We know that these boys have been known to rub panels with each other on multiple occasions in a season, so it's a bit of a rivalry between those two for sure. So it'll be interesting to see if Clute can get a run on Foster within the last couple.
Yeah, well, the cars look fairly stable out there. We thought the tyres might be going bad, having a few dramas after 6 or 7 laps, but it appears as everyone seems to be fairly, I don't know, just wide open, just turning laps.
Yeah, they're just able to sort of roll through the corner. They're using a little bit of brake into one to get the car to be stable, but then they're just picking the throttle up and just driving straight out of the corner. So it doesn't seem to be causing them the grief that we thought we were, as Clute's having a big run on the outside, using all that momentum that he can to close the gap right up to Foster for this final run for the last lap.
Yep, so as we work the last lap now, still Marwood from Callow. Foster and Clute are arguing over 3rd and 4th. Priest and Hamilton are still having a small little battle back there for the minors in 5th and 6th. So.
It's really interesting to see, but Clute's running the Kyle Larson line there. He is right up against the wall. There is nothing in that, and he's going to carry out of this last turn is he's going to have a go at Edward here.
Who's that into the wall? There's someone in the wall.
That was Callow. Callow's made a big mistake coming over the start-finish line.
Right, which has given the race to Marwood.
Yep, and
anyway.
half a tenth between Edward and Clute line there. There was nothing in that, so Clute's run down that back straight and into turn 3 and being up on that wall like he was really able to carry the momentum out of the corner and close right up to Edward. He was 3 tenths out of him in that last lap at the start of it, and he's found 2.5 tenths on that lap alone.
Yeah, it was they were trying to make something of it, but it's they just ended up holding station because Priest was able to hold off Hamilton as well. So, all right, so we go forward for the feature now. Quickly run through the grid before they all line up. What have we got here? We've got Marwood off the pole with Callow beside him. Bit of a repeat of the feature. Foster will be 3rd with Clute beside him in the 2nd row. Priest and Hamilton on the next row. Jaeger and Fullerton. Barrington and Clark. Walsh and May. Yelland and Phil Otto, is it? Yeah, in 14th, yep. Skurlock and Dillon. Sadler and Walker. And I think the rest of them have retired for the night by the looks of it. And I'm not sure, but I think Will Barrington may have also put his car behind the wall by the looks of it, which is a shame. So we'll have a bit of a warm up here, just to start the proceedings before we go into the 75 lap main. So we're just having a bit of a look at Raymond Jaeger here. Just doing some laps.
Well, that was an interesting couple of heats and consolidation qualifying for there. So I'm looking forward to this final now. It's going to be interesting to see what these boys get up to and how they use the run, because it seems like if you're at the front, that air will help you stay at the front tonight. So it's these boys at the back are definitely going to need to work their way forward and hope for some cautions and use a bit of strategy to get them some track position, I think, because that's the only way that they're going to be able to stay up the front.
Well, that's it, and I mean you've got a couple of quick guys down the back in Michael Skurlock and Gavin Sadler, and who else we've got down there? Trent Gosley. I mean these guys that are always quick and have been in the feature races in the last 3 weeks, but just haven't done so well in the heats and the consolation, have they?
No, that's exactly right, and I think it's a building up stage thing for some of these guys. These guys seem to, you look at the guys that are down there, they go really well in these long distance races that we run in AUSCAR and stuff like that. So I think they're maybe still sorting out some little bits and pieces with how they're going to drive these cars over a longer distance and what they're trying to work out what they need to go fast. And so it'll be interesting to see what sort of ground they can make. We know that pit stops play a big factor in this, and the guys that run the older Ford are going to have to be in the pits for longer. So I'm interested to see how this is going to play out.
All right. Well, as the warm up ends, they'll get ready to start gridding up now. Just to quickly recap, got Marwood and Callow off the front row, so it should be an interesting start. Hopefully, it's a little bit more, a little bit closer than what the consolation was, Chris.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I think it will be. I think there'll be a caution quite early. It seems like these guys are having a bit of an issue getting the cars going in the first couple of laps, maybe with the pressures not quite building up as quick as they thought they were. There seems to be a few guys sliding around in the first lap or two, but once the things actually kick off, they seem to be able to just go long for a long time. So I hope they don't make a liar out of me in this in the feature. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they can pull out here.
Well, there's a few guys at the back there that'll be looking to make a bit of a run. Absolutely no doubt about that. Skurlock, Walker, Sadler, Gosley. Those guys are normally at the other end of the grid, so it's a bit of a different view for them, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly right. But a few of these guys have been down there this season already, and they know how to get through traffic. We've seen them do it in all sorts of different series in track and car combo. So I'm looking forward to watching some of these guys move through the back up to the top, and then at the same time, I'm looking forward to seeing what the leaders can do. I mean, there's 5 very familiar names in that top 5 there, and 3 of them are running for the championship, with Clute, Priest and Foster being the top 3 in the championship at the moment, and they're at 3rd, 4th and 5th on the grid. So it'll be interesting to see how aggressive they get with each other, knowing that there's points on the line for each of them guys as well.
75 laps, it's a fair distance here. They're going to have to be careful of tyres, and they're going to have to make a fuel stop. Those in the older Falcons are going to have to obviously factor in the slowest stop that they've got. So yeah, time to start thinking strategy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it, man. It'll be interesting to see who plays what and when they play it. So as the pace car goes to the lane now, we have the green flag now.
Wow, Callow got a better run than our pole sitter Marwood.
He got a beautiful start there. He's actually nearly driven around the outside of Marwood into turn 1 here.
Jumping before the line, did he?
No, he didn't. He just, the green light went, and I think Marwood hesitated slightly, and Callow just had a blinder of a start.
Well, it hasn't helped much, because right now Marwood's pulled out in front of him, and Foster's gone with him. It's dropped Callow back to 3rd. So
yeah, it has. But with Callow and Priest being teammates, I think they still work together pretty quickly to get themselves back up the pointy end of the field for sure.
Well, they want to get themselves line astern, because going side by side right now is going to burn up the tyres, especially for who's that on the inside there, Priest. So it looks like they're going to sandwich Foster. here.
Yeah, they're running some very different lines. Everyone is. There's a couple of guys at the back that are right up against the wall. There's a couple of guys running the apron. Like it's anybody's at the moment. I can't really tell where to look at the moment, to be honest with you.
No, I'm just staying up the front and watching this battle here. We've got caution, so hopefully it'll give us time to go back and review anything that happens, because we can go back and have a look. We'll know. But right now, Callo's really giving Foster a hard time there up on the high line, and Priest is trying to sneak down the bottom.
Yeah, he is, and I think is Brendan Hamilton behind as well. So I haven't seen Brendan around before, but he's definitely come out with a bit of a vengeance tonight, and he's definitely got some pace in him. So be interesting if he progresses through the night as well.
Well, he had a bit of bad luck in the consolation. He was going well until sort of, about halfway, and then he ended up down the back. But he started to slowly come back. So just having a bit of a look back through the field there, and you got both inside the top 10 now. So as expected, they're making a bit of a run through.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we kind of expected that to happen pretty quickly in the race. It's they know how to cut through the traffic very quickly. I'm really interested in how high Matt's running compared to everybody else. He seems to be a good foot, car length high. And I think Edwards just hit the wall coming out of 2 as well, and he's just done a little bit of damage, or maybe he was just swerving to avoid Callow there. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, he seems to be right there on the low line. He's just got past Callow. If he's got any damage, it'll soon show up, because Callow will just pass him.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It just, I got a bit of a funny angle of him coming out of 2, and it looked like he rubbed the wall, but I don't think he did. I think he was just on a bit of a hunt to get past Callow, to be honest with you.
Well, they'll all be thinking the long game here, surely, as we work lap 6 of 75. They're all going to have to sort themselves out soon, because right now they're just giving it to Marwood on a platter, aren't they?
Yeah, that's exactly right. But I mean, we're still early in this race, and we're not sure how these guys are going to go after 25 plus laps. You know what I mean? We could see tires drop off all of a sudden. There could be all sorts of different stuff happening. So it'll be interesting to see if these guys do work together and form up to close that gap, or if they're just going to keep fighting this hard and hope that Marwood's car goes off and comes back to them. But I'm quite interested to see if this high line is going to work for a couple of these boys as the race goes on, because Klute's made a good run up the field so far, and he's using that line higher than anybody else is at the moment. So,
well, the low line's working very well for Priest at the moment, and Hamilton as well, I might add. So, whoa, who was that? Was that Callow? Just got
Priest and Hamilton, but we've stayed green at the moment, guys. So there's no caution. Yeah,
that's bad luck for Hamilton, because just literally just got into the back of him then. It was Callow. Yeah,
Callow's just unloaded him coming out of 2.
So Foster will have to watch his mirrors here a bit, because looks like Callow's not taking any prisoners right now. And he used front bumper to get on with it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Jackson's been known to be a little bit aggressive from time to time, but it's part of the racing, and sometimes you've got to do that to get out of the way. But Klute is getting a mega run around the outside of these guys, and I think as the run goes on, his tyres will still be in the best shape. I think these boys that are using this low line are probably going to use their stuff up a little bit quicker than Klute is, because he's able to just put the car wherever he wants it and be fast.
Well, we've talked about that a few times, haven't we? I mean, everyone's running the middle to high lines, and those that are running the low line, how long can they last?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So Edward, Callow and Klute here, and I think is that Jaeger behind?
Certainly is.
Yeah, that's a nice little battle pack there, and see what happens is Klute clears Callow and Jaeger's going with him.
Well, they've got a bit of a gap up to Priest, so while these two are battling, Marwood and Priest are just driving away. So they'll be watching that and thinking, well, need to make some ground up here.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And there's back to Edward and Klute side by side again. So these boys seem to find each other a lot on the track. So, Callow's just got real loose, and he's just been served by Jaeger in the rear.
Looks like Callow's had a big one as he comes across the line there. He just kept riding the wall, so hasn't brought out the yellow yet. So hopefully he can keep that straight and get himself into the pits quickly.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's yeah, the caution still hasn't flown for that one, so it's he's done a good job there to keep it out from spinning and wrecking everybody else's race. Definitely, it's good car control there.
Well, Walsh and Walker just had a bit of a coming together as well. Walker came off second best back there and put him back into the clutches of looks like Michael Skurlock and Reese May. So Clute's on a bit of a run now. He's starting to clear out.
Yeah, he's cleared Edward here, so it'll be interesting to see if he can pull up to the back of Priest now, because that car seems to have a lot of pace. I don't think he went as hard as early as he did, and I think him running that high line where that rubber seems to start being laid down, he's able to just keep going and not burn his stuff up as quickly.
Well, Priest and Mailed will be happy because they're able to just run whatever lines are optimal for them and conserve their gear, aren't they? I mean, you know, let everybody else battle and use up their gear behind them, and it gives them a hell of an advantage.
Yeah, that's exactly right, but I've noticed that Priest is sticking to that low line. He obviously thinks that's where his car's good, and I'm still not sure if that's the correct line with the tyre usage. I think he will start to suffer a lot earlier than, say, some of these guys further back that are using the high line.
Well, we've seen him use it to very good effect in the heat races and the consolation and early stages of this race as well.
Yeah.
It's just worked brilliantly for him. So it's worked lap 15 now of 75. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see when they start pitting for fuel too. To be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure what their fuel usage is at this round.
No, I usually get out there and turn a few laps to get a feel for the car and see what the fuel burns like and stuff like that. And I just didn't have the time today, so we're a bit blind up here in the comm box tonight and not knowing what's going. It's it's really going to come down to how long the stints are. If these guys are going to split the tyre usage up, like what are they going to do? You know, it's still anybody's fight at this point at the moment. Even though Marwood's pulled a second over the field, it's I think with his car.
Yeah, well, we haven't had a caution yet, so anything could change.
Well, that's exactly right. But if we stay green and he has to pit, we know that his car will be in the pit stop longer than the other guys. So that could really affect his race right there.
I've had an incident with Stacey Walker somewhere, but I didn't quite catch it. But he's dropped right back down the bottom now, so a bit unfortunate because he was pretty quick tonight too.
He's actually parked the car behind the wall and he's called it a night. So he's obviously used his fast repair early, and that's his race over.
A bit of a shame.
It is, but as we just go back to the front here, Klute's pulled out a 4/10 gap over Edward now, so he's definitely got something there in that car again, and he's looking pacey. So it'll be interesting to see as this race goes on if he continues to move forward or if he sort of balances out and stays pretty neutral with the guys in front.
Well, Marwood's had a 1.2 second lead over Priest now for some laps. Worked lap 18. Doesn't seem to be any inroads there, but Klute definitely seems to be slowly ranging up on the back of Priest, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's exactly right. He's sort of stabilised at 9/10 at the moment, but he is definitely pulling out a gap on Edward, which is definitely going to bring him back towards Priest, if anything, as the run goes on. So,
well, Marwood's slowly extending that lead to Priest, which is obviously something Klute wants to avoid happening too much. So he'll be doing his level best to get up and past Priest quickly, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's it. It'll be, like I said, I think strategy is going to be the key here. I think if these boys do go under green, I think it's going to change a lot of things very quickly.
Well, at the moment, curse of the commentator here, but at the moment, as we work lap 20, no caution at all, as I said earlier. So it'd be fun to see a green race and see how they play out the strategy, personally. Yeah,
I'd love to see it, to be honest with you. And after last week, I think it's very possible. I think this track promotes even better racing than, say, it does at Atlanta, and we saw how long the boys went at Atlanta before a caution came out. So it could definitely play a long green race here, and it'd be interesting to see who plays the right strategy, who pulls the trigger at the right time for tyres, who can get that fuel number directly on the number, and Klute's absolutely absolutely pulled back to Priest here. I think Priest has had a big moment coming out of 2, and he's lost a heap of momentum, and now Clute's all over the back of him here.
Yeah, well, they're 1.9 behind Marwood now, so that would make sense. But looks like Clute's got him. Clute's made that one look very easy, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. He ranged up on him pretty quickly, but it'd be interesting to see if Dwayne gets back at him here.
He's doing it right now. He's coming right back at him as they go up the back straight into 3. So he's taking that low line again.
Yeah, I think Priest's tyres are starting to burn off a little bit here, to be honest with you. I think that's why we've seen him slide back to Clute so fast. So I think as this next few laps battles, and if he's not careful and he doesn't clear him quick enough, Edward Foster will be right back up on the back bumper of these two again.
Well, they're stuck together, and Priest is able to hold that low line. He doesn't seem to be losing a lot of time to Clute doing it either. So it's just interesting how he seems to be the only one that can do it.
Yeah, we saw Stacey Walker was running that low line in that heat race, and that worked out quite well for him for a while there. So I just hope that Priest isn't using his stuff up too early, just trying to fight for a position when we've still got a lot of race to play out here. But Clute's finally cleared him, so it'd be interesting to see if Clute can actually pull away from him now, or if Dwayne will come back at him again for a second time.
Well, then it'll be a case of, has he got anything for Marwood? I think the draft's at play here, because that's where Clute seems to be struggling to pull away. As soon as they get onto the back straight, Priest just pulls right back up on the back of him again.
Yeah, I think Clute's running that higher line, and with Priest cutting more of the track by running a little bit lower, it's definitely helping him to carry the draft through the corner. But as we've just seen, Clute's run a little bit lower that time, and he's managed to gap him at just enough that Dwayne can't get back to his back bumper down the straight. So I think now as the run will go on, Edward will get up to Dwayne and they'll fight, and I think Clute will pull away a bit here.
Well, Foster's ranging up on the back of Priest now too, strangely enough.
But just behind them, Skurlock's just passed Nick Walsh for 5th place as well, so he's not out of this yet. He's maybe if caution comes out, he'll fall back into a top 5 position again.
Well, there's a fierce little battle going on there for what is it, 6th and 7th between Walsh and Sadler and Skurlock. So looks like they're all having a red hot go here between the 3 of them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They're all running slightly different lines. Skurlock seems to be right on the bottom as well. Walsh is probably a next lane up, and then Gav Sadler was a lane up from that. So it's interesting running and how they're using their cars to effect. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if these boys can sort of form up and make some road into the top 4 here. So.
Well, looks like Clute's managed to finally hang on to that position, and as I say that, Priest closes up, but not very close. Yeah, Clute's pulling that low line again, isn't he? He's actually trying to basically hold off Priest there, so it looks like he's got him covered. And Foster's just really closing up on the back now. These 3 are very close together, so maybe they'll just draft each other to try and bridge that gap to Marwood, which is now 2.4 seconds.
Yeah, Marwood's definitely checked out here, which is probably fucking rubbing his hands together with this, because it's just helping the guys that are behind him. He's just pulling further and further away. So,
well, I'm sure Clute wants to get it going, but he just can't seem to shake Priest, can he? He's doing an impressive job there, hanging on.
Yeah, he looked like he was struggling for a little bit there, but maybe being back behind another car, he's just able to hold his line again now. And yeah, he's having another go at Clute here, so I'm not really sure what happened for him to drop all that time back, or maybe he thought he could drop back to use the draft with these 3, and it's to catch back up to Marwood, and maybe it's sort of bit him because these boys have started from position.
Could have been too. I mean, it might have just been a different cycle through his tyres. Used them up using that needed to let him cool off a bit, and run in the draft a bit, and just get his car back in order again.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's as we're now on lap 30, these boys will definitely have to be coming to the lane soon, I think, for tyres.
Yeah, I would say the same. So far, yeah, working lap 31 now. These tyres have got to be absolutely just like marshmallows. As Foster just goes right up the inside of Priest there as they go up into, what was it, turn 3 by the looks of it.
Yeah, but Priest is getting another run back out of the corner here, so this seems to be where the battle is. Second, third, and fourth.
Yeah, it does. I'm just having a bit of a look back through the field to see if those other guys... Well, this battle is still raging back down here for 5th, 6th, and 7th. What do we got here? We've got Michael Skirler, Gavin Sadler, Norman Clark, Aaron Dillon, and George Fullett, and all packed little battle pack. So
yeah, and Trent Gosley's got himself back up there as well. So
yeah, yes,
that's a good little pack forming there. So I wonder if these boys are going to be able to use the draft to catch up, because 5 cars in a row is definitely more effective for the draft than 2 or 3.
Well, that's it. So so what we've got here, Skurlock up on the inside, sorry, the outside of Walsh, is it? Or Gosley, sorry?
No, Gosley's in... Oh, I'm not quite sure.
Gosley's in 5th, so he's down low and Skurlock's up high in 6th. But right behind them, though, Walsh, Dillon and Sadler are having an absolutely ding-dong battle back here.
Yeah, I'm just continuing to watch this battle up front with Edward Foster and Dwayne Priest here. Matt Klutz seemed to pull about a 3/10 gap on him now. And he's actually taken a 10th and a half out of Terry Marwood that last lap. So as Dwayne's looking back under Edward into turn 3.
Well, it looks like Skurlock's prevailed in the battle pack back here. So, yeah, he's now up to 5th, which is a good run for him. Although Gosley's coming back at him, so these guys are just going to keep going at it, I think, until the first stops.
Yeah, it seems like it, and I don't think we're too far away from them stops, to be honest with you. As we look lap 35 now, I think the last couple of races they've been getting a 45 lap tank.
So Foster's comfortably in front of Priest now, so I think we've got someone down in the pits already, have we here? Yeah, we've got a fair group of them here. So we've got Aaron Dillon, Nicholas Walsh, and Michael Skurlock have all pitted. They were all having that battle back there in 5th, 6th, and 7th. So obviously determined that they need some fresh rubber. So you would expect that we'd start seeing the leaders come in pretty soon, wouldn't you?
Well, Terry Marwood must have pitted as well, because he's now 7 seconds behind.
He's in the pits now. He's actually in the pits now. So the race leader has pitted.
So we got Klute, Foster fighting for the lead now. And Foster's actually gapped Priest a little bit here, and now he's back on the back bumper of Klute here. So these two are going at it.
As Foster goes for a run up the inside as they come into turn 1.
Klute is definitely running that last on the line up there. He is comfortable up there against that wall, so it's interesting to see the momentum that he's able to carry through the corner.
Well, it's definitely working for him, isn't it?
Yeah, he's only probably about a car width off the wall now in 3 and 4, where before he was halfway down the track. So it's definitely starting to play into his hands, and I think right up there.
Well, you'd think they're coming in soon. We're working lap 39, about to work lap 40. We've seen a few guys pit now, so which is going to be a disadvantage. Those guys in the older Falcon will be thinking, wow, what have I got to do now?
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. It's definitely going to cost them quite a bit of time staying in the lane for much longer like they do. So it'll be interesting as Klute's going to the lane now.
Oh, that was a little bit dicey with Yellen in front of him there. Looks like Priest has gone into the pits as well, by the looks of it, yep. So that just leaves Foster now. Bit of a gamble going on here.
They both hit their marks perfectly there, so that's worked out well for them.
So Foster's staying out. Hell of a gamble. So obviously he feels okay on these older tyres. 40, yeah, he's still going strong.
Yeah, it's I'm a little bit surprised that some of them come to the lane so early, to be honest with you.
Well, you know, we're over half distance now, so it's not entirely surprising to see them come in because, as we know, I mean, it only took 7 or 8 laps and those tyres were starting to get very, very skatey. But this is pretty impressive stuff from Foster to stay out, well, so far, 3 laps further than the rest.
Yeah, I just hope that it doesn't cost him too much time with being that much slower on track with all these guys with new rubber. It could come back to bite him, but then he might be playing the strategy to have fresher tyres for the end of the race.
Well, just going back, who have we got? We've got Gosley, Fullerton, and also Jaeger have also stayed out. Marwood's the first one on track, our previous leader. So Foster's just going in right now. Yeah, they just had to pit, didn't they? I mean, what were they? Nearly 2 seconds a lap slower.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They'd be losing too much time if they stayed out too much.
Well, they were in the in the high 32s, and Marwood's just done a 30.8. So let's see where they all shake out. Looks like Foster's hit his marks and doing okay so far. We've got Fullerton, Gosley and Jaeger in the pits as well at the moment. All right, so yeah, it looks like it might have cost Foster a little bit of time, to be honest. Marwood's just gone back into the lead again, as we just see Clute and Priest go past Foster. So yeah, it's actually cost him a bit of time, unfortunately. He's about to get swallowed up by Michael Skurlock if he's not careful, and Jackson Callow's in there behind him as well. So Callow's making a bit of a comeback as well. So what have we got? We've got Dwayne Priest and Matthew Clute battling for third and fourth here. Aaron Dillon's jumped up into second. He must have had a fantastic stop. Whether he only took 2 tyres or not, I find it hard to believe he would, but I guess anything's possible. But he's made a huge jump up the order there.
Yeah, I'm just looking now at his lap times.
He's definitely pitted. He pitted the same time as Marwood.
Yeah, so them boys that stayed out a little bit longer, it definitely it's cost them quite a bit of time there. So, and Aaron Dillon was actually 10 seconds in the pit stop quicker than Marwood was as well.
I think Marwood's got that older Falcon, hasn't he?
Yeah, he does. So that's some time.
So it looks like Clute and Priest are having a bit of a battle back here. Clute's on top at the moment, but Priest is fighting.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at Matt Clute's time as well, and Matt seems to have quite a stationary time as well. So maybe he made a mistake in the pit stop, or I'm not quite sure. Maybe he got balked by Yellen on entry. I'm not really sure, but he's lost quite a bit of time there in that stop.
A few of them have, yeah.
Because if, in theory, he was behind Marwood, so now he's over 7 seconds behind him now. So he definitely dropped back quite a bit there.
Well, I mean, Marwood's got a 5.6 second lead over Dillon in second. That's not bad.
That's exactly right.
So as we work lap 48 now, and the stops have been done, it'll be a race to the flag. Still running green, caution free, which is what we wanted to see. We were hoping to get a really good green fast, and they're certainly putting it on, aren't they?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's been a good race so far to watch. As Coates definitely pulling in Aaron Dillon here, so it'd be interesting to see if he can catch him with 27 laps to go.
Well, Barwood's still extending that lead, so they want to get a hurry on if they want any shot at this.
Yeah, Klutz actually pulled in nearly 1.3 seconds on Marwood in the last 5 laps, so them fresher tyres are definitely helping him catch back up, and it'd be interesting to see if he can manage them tyres longer than Marwood can, as I've just noticed that we've also had Trent Gosley and Brendan Hamilton retire from the race.
Oh, what a shame. They were both pretty quick tonight too.
If Clute can pass Aaron Dillon pretty quickly here, I think he's got something for Marwood if he can get close enough to him. But it just depends on that drop-off and how the run goes. If he gets stuck fighting somebody, I think it's, he's going to be in a bit of trouble there.
Well, I've only got 25 laps to go. Marwood's got a 6.3 second lead. That's a pretty huge gap to bridge, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And he's actually, Clute's just lost a tenth and a half that lap to Marwood. So, yeah, I think if he can pull ahead and maybe get out of this traffic, he might have some clear air and fresh tyres, might help him a little bit. But I think the damage was done when he stayed out too long, to be honest with you.
Well, our race leader's got some lap traffic coming up ahead of him. He's got, it looks like George Fullerton and Tristan Yelland just up in front of him here. So unless they balk him, Clute's going to struggle to pick this one up.
Yeah, he's dropped another tenth and a half there, so I think Clute's just now surviving to try and stay in front of this pack to finish second and get some more points over his championship rival in fourth and fifth.
Well, as long as he finishes in front of them, he stays at the top of the table, doesn't he? I mean, really, that's all he's got to think about at this stage. Yeah, he's got to stay in front of Priest because Priest is only a few points behind him in the standings as we are right now. So as long as place strategy, well, he should be okay.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm just looking to see where Marwood is in the top 10 at the moment. So that win for him is not going to affect the championship standings too much.
No, Marwood's in 17th at the moment, but this will certainly push him a fair way further up.
As Edwards just cleared Aaron Dillon as well now and pulled away. So these three are back at it again for second, third and fourth.
Yeah, Callo's hanging back there as well. Who's he battling with? Michael Skurlock, is it?
No, I'm not quite sure. Just give me a second.
Raymond
yes,
Yeager.
I think. Yeah, but Raymond Yeager is actually one lap down,
okay, yeah.
so that's just lap traffic in there.
And we've got Skurlock and Callow. Yeah, it was Skurlock, yeah.
Yep.
I was through while keeping an eye on the front pack, so it was hard to tell.
Edwards just cleared Dwayne for third place. He looks to be getting a run on now into turn 3.
Well, as you've mentioned several times already, these two have got a bit of a history here, and with Priest straight into the mix. Ooh, the back right-hand side there of Foster, didn't he? Priest got very, very close then, coming into the triangle.
Yeah, they're racing pretty hard.
Yeah, that drafting effect, I'm sure it still catches some of these guys out at times when they're just really focused on what's in front. And yeah, it's easy to happen though, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. And I mean, a lot of these guys are regulars in the stock cars, and that you don't get this sort of draft effect in a stock car. So with them being so used to doing that sort of stuff and then jumping in this where the error effect is so big, I think it will still catch guys out from time to time. And we're all human. We make mistakes from time to time, you know, and all it takes is a big run and you not realise how big the run is until it's too late and you're in the back bumper of somebody. So
yeah, that's it. And I mean, all this battling's just letting Marwood get away now. 7.7 0.1 seconds up the road. He seems to be getting his way through this traffic okay. Doesn't seem to be bothering him too much. They're all being reasonably courteous and giving him some room. So it doesn't bode well for the guys behind him. But I mean, at least they're putting on a battle back there, and yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right, but we've still got 17 laps to go, and if a caution comes out, it could be anybody's from then, you know what I mean? It resets the grid, and everybody goes at it hard again, so...
At 58 now, 75, so we're running out of laps. You know, we've only got, 17 laps to go, so... So they look like they've just kind of fallen into position now, don't they?
Yeah, I don't think they're pushing too hard at the moment. They're probably saving a little bit for them last 5 or 6 laps to run at each other and have another crack to try and make another position or whatever up. As it looks like Aaron Dillon was on the apron down below just behind him.
Okay, wonder what's happened to him. He's dropping down the order pretty quick. Looks like he might be pitting. Well, he pitted the same time as Marwood, so I'm surprised.
Yeah, maybe he's hit the wall somewhere and he's got some damage. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I just noticed him in the back corner. Was on the apron.
Yeah, he's dropped down to 11th now. So Cluedhangen's on to second from Foster, Priest and Callow. Yeah, these four aren't changing around much. I'm not sure what I think. I just saw Clute just brush the wall back there, but it doesn't seem to have done any damage. So maybe it wasn't quite a brush. Maybe it was just close. Just Foster goes underneath him, but that high line's working very, very well for Clute, isn't it?
Yeah, he's definitely taken a page out of Kyle Larson's book with that line here. It's definitely a favourite line that we've seen them run in the Cup race week on week, and yeah, he's using it to great effect tonight. So it's exciting to see. I love a guy that gets up there on the boards and puts it all on the line and tries to drive it.
Moment Foster had a bit of a loose moment there coming out of 2 before, so it's just allowed Priest just to climb on him, but yeah, they're settling back down again now. And
oh, Clute's just hit the wall hard.
Oh, he has too. Second place, Clute's just taken the wall. Oh, that high line. We're only just talking about that too, weren't we?
Oh, he's had serious issues there.
Oh, well, and it pulls out a caution, yeah. Well, there goes the lead. Not quite sure what happened then.
No, he, I think I put the commentator's curse on him saying how well he was running up there. And yeah, something's definitely bit him, and I'm not really sure what happened when he got to the apron. He looked like he was clear of the walls, and then it just fired up into the air. So
I'm just trying to go back and have a bit of a look.
That's a shame for Matt. He's actually parked the car behind the wall now, and he's disconnected for the night.
Wow, that's really going to damage his holding in the championship at the moment, isn't it too?
Yeah, it's definitely going to have championship implications with that one for sure.
Well, there was only a few points between them all, so it looks like he's come out of 2 and gone high and just clipped the wall coming out of 2, and that's just the end of his race, unfortunately.
Yeah, and he's already dropped back to 12th position here, and there's a couple of guys 2 laps down, so he'll probably end up about 14th there. So even if Edward and Dwayne have a pretty average night and finish top 10, that's definitely going to affect him in the championship.
Well, everyone's pitting, Chris, so this is the caution we wanted, and it's going to give us probably a, I don't know, 8-lap sprint, I would say, on fresh rubber.
Yeah, so we're gonna 7 or 8 laps we're gonna get for a run to the end. So I think the guy that's probably kicking himself at this is Marwood because he knows that pit stop's going to be longer for him as well. So as we watch Dwayne and Edward jump him, Skurlock in third, and then Jackson Callow in fourth. So
he's dropped back to fifth.
He's back in fifth now, so that's definitely going to affect him.
Yeah, he's the one person who didn't need this, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's exactly right. He had a nice, comfortable 7-second lead, and now that's been taken away from him. And with that car needing longer in the pits, it's definitely gone away from him.
So, interesting equation right now. Foster will be in front of Priest. Yeah, Priest loves to run this low line. We'll have 6 or 7 laps, so none of them will be worried about burning their tyres. Skurlock's made his way from the back of the grid up to third. And then we've got Callow and Marwood with Walsh sitting in behind them. Wow.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Out of the winners we've already had this season, Edward's the only one left, and he's in the box seat at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see if he can hold off for his second win of the season or if we'll get a new winner.
Well, Priest is looking very, very quick. But, you've got Callow and Marwood who have, shown recently and tonight that they've got a lot of speed and they've got no qualms at all about pushing their way through if they have to, which is fine. That's racing. But certainly sets up a bit of a tasty sprint, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the last thing we need is another caution here because that'll delay the green and we might not get another restart after that. So hopefully the boys can sort of get it to a point where they're arranged but they fight hard without wrecking each other and we can run this green out to the end now.
Well, I think the lights are out on the pace car. This is lap 67, so we'll 7-lap sprint, hopefully. Let's see who's got what left on fresh tyres.
Yeah, I think we've still got 1 to go, to be honest with you. This next time around, I think they'll grid up because there's still...
lights are still on the safety.
Yeah, lights are still on, and there's 3 guys in front of Edward, 2 now, as one's just dove into the pit lane. That'll get the wave around this lap.
Yeah, but as they come up on that banking there in turn 3 and 4, it looked like the lights were out, but they weren't forming up. So now they're forming up. So yeah, so we'll be green next time around. So
that's it.
6-lap sprint, Chris. 6-lap sprint. Yeah. Who do you think it'll be? Who's got the pace tonight? Do you think? Foster's been there all night, but so has Priest. Then you've got Skurlock sitting there in third. That's come through from nowhere. And Callow, Marwood, and Walsh right there. Well, Sadler's also pretty quick. All got fresh tyres.
I'm interested to see what the 3 on the outside do, being them teammates. If they all work together, they could have a pretty good run. We know Edward's fast. Michael Skurlock seems to play himself into position week on week. So he seems to be there when it counts and does well and gets the points. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting fight to the end.
All right. Well, didn't answer the question. I've got a funny feeling that Foster or Priest are going to hold on here as the safety car pulls in and we're about to run away. So Foster gets a great jump from Priest. They're falling in behind him. Skurlock takes to a bit of the grass there on the left, but he survived fine. Looks like the third wheel in Walsh didn't follow his 2 teammates. Look at this, Callow straight up the inside of Priest to latch onto the back of Foster, and Skurlock's going right there with him.
Yeah, I think Callow might pull this one out of the bag. He's been there or thereabouts in a lot of the races lately, and he just hasn't quite come through with that win in the last few weeks. I think he'll be itching for one. I think he might have it tonight.
Well, Priest has dropped in behind him, so you'd think they'll work together, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but don't look now. Marwood's just made a run as well, and he's up to 5th now. So it's gonna come down to who keeps it clean and who can get past, because they're 2 and 3 wide at the moment.
Well, Skurlock seemed to he lost a lot of speed through that turn.
Yeah, he looked like he got a bit loose out of 2, and it sort of bogged down, and he lost a heap of momentum, and it sort of brought the rest of the pack back into it. As we've got, looks like Jackson Callow fighting the Foster for the lead here.
Yep,
so
4 to go. 4 laps to go, and Callo's up the inside of Foster. Foster's hanging on there, but, you know, Callo's got his teammate Priest there coming in behind him, so...
Oh, he's got past him, and it looks like Priest is trying to have a go on
Foster
Edward.
back up the inside.
Oh,
and they
good save by Callo there.
Yeah.
Great save.
Brilliant save, wasn't it? Did very, very well to hang on to that. That could have been very, very nasty. All right, so we're working lap 72 of 75 now. So Priest is coming back on the outside of Marwood up there for 3rd and 4th as well, but Marwood's hanging on. But Callo's going to make another run here on Foster. Absolutely, yep, up the outside. Make a run down the inside of Foster, is he, to make it 3 wide? No, just better off.
That's actually Priest fight for the lead there. Callo's lost a little bit of ground from that bump with Edward. He's actually fallen in behind Marwood now, so...
Sorry, you're right too, yeah.
But look at Skurlock out on the outside as well, and he seems like he's got a lot of pace up on that high line.
Yeah, but he just got boxed in between Callo and Priest, and it's cost him a fair bit of time there, by the looks of it.
Yeah, he seems to be losing a lot on the exit of the corner. Dwayne
Priest
and
up
Edward
on the outside, yep. Marwood down the inside of Priest now. Working lap 73. About to go into lap 74, so second to last lap. Just got this one and the next one to go. This could get really, really ugly. Oh, was there a bit of contact there between Foster and Priest? Oh, Marwood up the inside of Priest here. Oh, Foster's hanging on, but Priest just a bit of a tap there. Marwood up the inside of both of them. Callo's closing in here on the back of the 3 of those guys as well. So, oh, gee whiz, I tell you what, last lap, lap 75, Marwood's just taken the lead again. So we've got Callo up on the inside of Foster now. Can he do anything about Marwood? Coming out of turn 2, heading up. Oh, Foster's in the wall.
Oh, big hit,
that
big
just
hit.
gifted the race to Marwood. It hasn't pulled out the... no, it hasn't pulled out the yellow. Oh, what a shame. So Marwood takes the win from Callo and Priest.
Norman Clark in 4th, and Michael Skurlock to finish 5th. And that's a shame for Edward. He's come home in 9th position after that one.
Yeah, I'm not really... I might just go for a bit of a run back there and see what happened and see how that all started. So he had Callo up the inside of him, and Priest in. Oh yeah, he's just got up onto up into the left side of Foster and pushed him up into the wall, and yeah, that kind of ended his night. Very unfortunate that, but anyway. So as we watch Terry Marwood do his Victor's burnout, we have our 4th new winner of the season. So, as we go through the results, Terry Marwood takes the win, led most of the race, followed by Jackson Callo, Dwayne Priest, Norman Clark in 4th, Michael Skurlock in 5th, Gavin Sadler in 6th, Nicholas Walsh in 7th, Raymond Yeager in 8th, Edward Foster ended up coming home in 9th after that last lap wreck, Aaron Dillon in 10th, George Fullerton in 11th, Phil Otto in 12th, Tristan Yellen in 13th, a couple of laps down, and then we get into all of our non-finishers, starting with, unfortunately, our former championship leader, Matt Clute. So, wow, what a finish. Who would have picked that one?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It definitely threw a few wild cards up at the end, and 2 of the main championship guys ended up in 9th and 14th. So it's definitely played into the hands of Priest tonight with having his teammates around him and working together, and he'll be happy with that. Nice, solid run of points, and that'll probably put him in the lead of the championship.
Could well do, could well do. So, yeah, been interesting conversation with a few of these guys if they show up to talk to us at the end of this. So how that shakes out for the championship, I'm not entirely sure, but um, I think we'll probably see Dwayne Priest take the lead here because he was only 4 points behind Clute. So, all right, so let's go and have a look now, and we'll see if there's anyone up there. If anyone wants to have a chat to us,
Just got Edward Foster in there.
Yeah. So I might drag him down, and you can have a quick word with him, Chris.
Yeah, that'd be great. Edward Foster, Chris Pennell, Performance e-streaming booth. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. How you going?
Yeah, good, thanks, buddy. It's a bit of a shame to see the last lap end like that for you. You had an awesome race all night in all your races, actually. It was nice to see you not have any major wrecks and run a serious race and, not have too many issues, that's for sure.
Yeah, until the end when it actually counts. So, it's all well and good to just to run completely clean all night, but if you're going to get tidied up on the last lap, there's not a lot of point, is there?
No, that's exactly right, man. And it's a bit of a shame that it had to come down to that. How did you see the incident?
Oh, look, I didn't know too much about the incident. It just seems to be the way of things in. I don't want to say this series because it's a great series, but just the way that it's been with a few of them that you've got two options. You can either sit back and not race and make the finish, or if you try to race certain people, you're going to wind up getting taken. So that just seems to be the way of it, unfortunately. You've really got the choice. You can sit back and not do anything, or you can get wrecked. So...
Yeah, completely understand, man. And we've all been in that situation before, and I know how frustrating it is. So it's a shame that it's happened like that, and it's probably got a little bit of an effect on your championship now, falling back a little bit like that. But your other rival, Matt Clute, had an even worse night than you, and hopefully you can sort of continue the momentum and hopefully have another win before the end of the season.
Yeah, I guess that's what we'll be aiming for. I mean, obviously Clute did drop out a little bit earlier on, which while it's bad luck for him because we're having an awesome race, it obviously did me a little bit of a favour in the championship. Then of course I was battling Priest because I'm obviously very close with him in the points as well. We seem to be having a good race, but got two of them together, and that was the result.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Is there anything you want to say, Brett?
Yeah, Edward. Yeah, well, I guess enough said about that incident. We'll probably try and talk to Callow if he's available a bit later. But I've got a question for you. Pit stops. You stayed out a few laps after the other guys, and you seem to actually lose a bit of time to them on that. What was the call for that one? Did you just feel you could run that little bit longer, or how were the tyres?
Look, the tyres were okay. There's obviously a performance advantage for fresh tyres. I did consider actually pitting early and going the undercut, but when the other guys did that, you're obviously losing a lot of time in the pits, a lap or more in the pits. So once they did that, I thought, all right, well, I'll do the opposite. I'll keep running around, and if there's caution, I'm going to be a lap ahead of everyone. So
yep.
It wasn't planned. It was more of an on-the-fly sort of thing. Once they pitted, I decided to do the opposite.
Yeah, okay, yeah. We were just a little bit perplexed because you sort of went about 3 or 4 laps longer, and it seemed to be dropping time hand over fist. So, answers that question perfectly. So, all right, well, yeah, clearly not a great ending, and sorry to see it end that way. But again, at least it closes up on the lead for you with Clute. But anyway, better luck next week, Edward.
Yeah, seems. I'm not sure what I've got to do to actually get a clean race out of this, but we'll keep trying.
No worries. Thanks for talking to us. Anyone you want to have a call out to before you go?
Just Performance e-streaming, the organisers, mate.
All right, mate. No worries. We'll let you go, Edward. All right. Not a happy man.
No, and I can understand why. He had a fantastic pace all night, and he was running really well, and he was having a clean race. And then he's been unloaded on the last turn, on the last lap. So I can understand the frustration. It happens to the best of us at times, and it definitely does boil your blood to a certain degree. So I feel sorry for him, and hopefully he can bounce back from it next week and have a really solid run and dominate.
All right. Well, we might drag down the other player in that incident in Jackson Callow. So just give me a second. I'll just pull him down. We'll have a quick word with Jackson as well and get his perspective on it all. Jackson, Brett from Performance E Streaming. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. Um, look, I'd like to be talking about what a great race and a great run and all the rest of it, but obviously the talk of everything now is that last couple of laps with Edward Foster. What was your perspective on it all?
It was sort of good that we got the caution there because the three of them back in real close, and I think about 4 laps to go, Edward and I ran up the track a bit high. I went back to about 6th. On that last lap, I sort of got the inside run through 1 and 2, and it was the last lap battle, and I just kept the pin, and I was getting a bit loose off the corner. I thought I left Edward enough room, and he sort of wanted to make sure he had a bit of room between him and the wall, and sort of made a little bit of contact. Nothing deliberate, and unfortunately, he finished a bit further down, but other than that, I was happy to come from a lap down to get back to 2nd.
Yeah, it was a great effort, that. It was a bit unfortunate how you got that lap down too. Could you talk us through it? What happened?
I was probably my own fault, to be honest. I probably just should have toughened up and braved it, like just hop back in behind them and still have a 60 laps to go. But I tried to hang around the outside and got put in the wall a bit by myself. Sorry, got loose and got hit from behind, which put me in the wall. But yeah.
Well, it's a great finish in the end. You had your teammate Dwayne Priest behind you as well, so good for the team. 2nd place gives you a little bit of a push up in the championship as well, because you were down in 8th before, so this should push you up a few points, especially considering a couple of the guys up front of you there didn't finish. So we've got 2 rounds to go. How do you think you'll play out the next couple of rounds? You're looking forward to them? Have you got a favourite track?
To be honest, I don't even know what the tracks are. They're coming up. But
Kansas next week, and then Las Vegas to finish.
I love both of them tracks. They're fun. But yeah. I think by looks of it, we're gonna have Precy and Welshie probably 1 and 2 in the championship now for lads. So try and get them up there and keep it a 1-2 for the rest of the season.
Well, it'd be great result for the team if you can. So yeah, Chris, you got anything for Jackson?
Oh, hey, buddy. It's good to see you running well again, and you're definitely closing in on that win. It's your pace is seeming to pick up. What have you done recently to make the changes? You seem to definitely find a purple patch in your career for sure.
Well, I'll use this as an excuse. I was on Wi-Fi before, so I was lagging a bit. Now I've got the hardwire shit. Now yeah, she's not lagging anymore, so it's a bit easier.
No, that makes sense, man. It's sometimes it's the little things that make the biggest difference. So I can definitely relate to some of that stuff.
Yeah, I got Precy to hook her up, and yeah, she was sweet.
Beautiful. Is there anybody you'd like to say thank you to?
Oh yeah, all the boys at Lads Race Team. Well done to them all tonight. Hot Toddies, TV Installations, Lonnie Cart Supplies, and Sleepies.
Beautiful.
All right, thanks for talking to us, Jackson, and we'll see you next week at, what did I say? Kansas.
Will do. Thanks, boys.
No worries, mate. All right, so unfortunately our race winner Terry Marwood wasn't available to talk to, so bit of a shame. But he put on a great thing all night, and he was just dominant tonight, wasn't he? Say or do, he just dominated, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He had solid run in his heat race, and then the consolidation race he did really well as well. And then he just finished it off with the final where he actually pulled away from the field by about 2 seconds and ran cleanly up by the front for himself for ages. And then that caution probably didn't go his way. Definitely not. He fell back to 5th on that restart, but he just kept plugging away, and he pulled back in front of everybody before the end of it.
Yeah, he did. So brilliant effort that for Terry Marwood, and congratulations on the win. Hopefully we can catch up with you down the track. So anyway, quick recap. We'll just quickly go back through the top 5. So we had Terry Marwood, as we just spoke about, won the feature tonight, followed by Jackson Callow in 2nd, Dwayne Priest in 3rd. Norman Clark was a great result for Norman in 4th, and Michael Skurlock closed out the 5th place. He come up 10 positions there. So Gavin Sadler also did a wonderful job in 6th there. He moved up 11. So both those guys started from the back, and it's not a bad effort, really, considering the opposition they were up against. So.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So it was another fantastic round, and I'm looking forward to going to Kansas next week. It's one of my personal favourites, and I think it'll play into some guys' strengths a lot more than other guys. So it'll be interesting to see how the field spreads out over that race.
Indeed, it will. All right. So thank you to Carl with you for driving the cameras tonight. Without him, we wouldn't have been anywhere, of course. So thank you very much, Carl. Thanks,
welcome.
Chris, for joining me as usual. And yeah, we'll close this one out for tonight. We'll all catch up again next Sunday night at Kansas for round 5, the penultimate round of the IRFF AUSCAR series. So good night from me and good night from Chris and the team.